So we have 5 viewers on YouTube. That's amazing. I think that will be the that will be the total sum of people looking at this. All right. So to present this, I am Jonathan. And if you're watching live, you are watching a feedback session that I'm giving to my students in my class, Make Art That You Love. If you're interested, you can check the link in the description and start a free trial if you want feedback for this session as well. The way it works is that they have shared a painting that they are struggling with, and the goal is for me to help them figure out what to do next and how to get to the next stage of that work. All right, so let's get started. I have two beautiful paintings, one by Lorenzo and one by Roberto, and you don't have to wave, guys. You're not on the you're not on the live stream. Oh, there's this timer. But good on you. So first off, we have Lorenzo. And you can just, if you can unmute, so I can ask you some questions about it.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can.
Oh.
So you said basically you are in the stage of like refinement right now, where you're going, okay, I want to kind of clean this up, and you're not really sure how to approach it.
Yeah.
All right. And what is the intention you're having with this painting right now? Like it's a night scene, but you have this kind of cigarette. What's the idea?
Yeah, so these are like this is part of a bigger project. It's about presenting the culture and the cool city.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to feel big and linked to the stars, as in like the layout in the sky is similar to the layout of the cities in the landscape, and it's like a culture that adores the stars and lights fires in the same places of the stars and stuff. And so I wanted to feel both the sky and the cities as huge compared to the people,
Mm-hmm.
and I also wanted the ritualistic aspect of the thing to be relevant.
Okay, that's first of all, like your writing exercise, you're really like hitting with these ideas. um, Super cool. So they are having a basically you want the stars to mirror what's happening in the landscape. I think like that's a
Yeah.
really good constraint to have. So um, one thing that kind of jumps out to me is that as a thumbnail, this painting really works already. Like the colors, the and the layout of the density of texture already makes it feel like a city. And now what you're kind of stuck on when you're saying that you want to bring this to the next stage is basically making things more specific without, going, okay, now I have to render and plan out a full city.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, this is a really good idea. But one thing is like putting in a few brushstrokes that, are like, what's it called? Like this will represent the city. Another thing is like, oh, I have to now paint the city.
Yeah.
So, what kind of jumps out to me in a few ways is how you are not really using the cigarettes in a way that supports the image that is here. So
Mm.
when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, oh, this is like a big landscape, but this tower actually has nothing to do with this city down here because, in a sense, like this is incredibly high up, like we are like kilometers in the sky almost, but there's
Yeah.
no indication that this is a mountainous, I guess that's the word when it has lots of
Yeah.
mountains area, and so its scale and height is not necessarily explained because there's nothing that supports it leading up. Like you have this big river that is. Let me just turn myself off for a second. You have this big river that is coming through, and what's going on is basically that it's kind of going in the path that we would expect this huge tower building to be. So is it built
Yeah.
across the river, or is it something basically where like there's a steep mountain going up here? Neither of those things is really being shown in a way that gives it meaning right now.
Right.
And so what I think is kind of like the cue is partly it's the nature of the. So if I just copy this image and bring over. So one thing that you kind of like are thinking of. So if I bring up this example, so we did this painting analysis for last Thursday class, and I did this one for Torrance Ladder, and so this might feel a bit different than what we're working on right now, but I kind of want to show you how he's managing this kind of like very simple landscape in a way. He has one cue in this tree that says this is how tall things are. Because of this, it helps us understand the scale of the flowers. And so he has a kind of system that says when we look here, we spot all these other things that help us understand the scale of this. But there is no necessarily, without these elements, there's no sense of like how big anything is. Like if you paint out the tree cue, like suddenly this could be a very big grass, or it could be something that's far in the distance. And so
Yeah.
you need something that supports. And so of course already now, if I just can actually paint over, like what's already happening now in your painting is that you have a ton of things to say it's very small objects. And then of course you have these men who are coming in and supporting this as something that's being in front, because they are obviously peeking out into this image, right? They're going forward. And so I think you missed the class for the call itself, but the recording will be up. I'm just need to edit a few things for it. But one of the paintings that was shown was this really wonderful piece. Wait, just get it here, because I think it will be helpful for you to kind of look at it. So John, he shared this Britt Allen. Wait, let me just find the painting itself. I can copy it in. So Britt Allen Johnson, that's the guy's name, and I kind of want to show you how he handles the. Let's make this much bigger. So this is like a really cool little landscape, right? And I want to kind of like put the focus on it, because when we've been talking about dominant details a lot. Like I think like I've been saying big idea, but I think like dominant detail helps on kind of cover more different subjects, and so basically the image has to support something, right? Like and so the place where that has the most contrast is what we get that helps us understand what this is, right? It gives us a scale, it gives us basically a button to look at, right? It's like, okay, we look here and then we move around the image through that area. And the way he's done it here is there's all this pressure that's leading down from the mountain, right? You see like all this, basically anything you look at is kind of leading you back down towards this cowboy. But what's going on here is that there's also a second relief that happens from the cowboy, in that there's an equally dark contrast, right? If I bring this over here, you see how like these are basically the same color, like value wise. It's like it's so similar. It's basically the same. And so what happens is that because they're the same, they share intensity. Right now, this is against a brighter background, so it gets the most attention. But what ends up happening is that it basically becomes a kind of a lightning rod for the attention. So we go through here, and then we spread out throughout the image, right? We move out. Let me get a color we can actually see. It goes out from here, and it basically creates this. We reach here, and then we look into the foreground. And so when you have something like dark in the foreground, right, like this, you are cutting off. You're basically, this is what's most in front. And so if you don't have anything that helps us look down and go through it, so we can go back out to the image, then you need some kind of assistance for it, because this becomes a dominant detail, right? As it happens here in yours. And so what he does here is he basically has a second element in front. And if you see, like if I remove these, how losing the support of these bushes, now like we cannot look at anything but the cowboy.
Yeah.
So when you are arranging your image, what you really need to push for is that you are what's it called? Hang on. I just forgot to press record on my stuff. The things. What you're looking at here is you have a detail that has a lot of contrast, but it's not being supported. So when we look at it, we can't leave. Right? We just go here, and then we can't go back out because there's no escape. Like we look down, and it just forces us back down. And so, one thing that I want you to notice here in Brett Allen Johnson's work is that he has. I mean, so now of course this is a very low resolution image I'm working off here. So this is completely. I mean, it's really there's no detail on this. But notice that this is enough to say horse, right? This is a horse, and this is clearly a cowboy on a horse. And so because of this detail here, we now understand that these are also horses. And if I do a line like this, suddenly like they lose a lot of their meaning. And so this little gap here around them is actually super important because it helps us understand what this is. In the same way that the previous painting that I showed, the gap around the tree, let me find it again. The gap around the tree here helps us understand that this is a forest. But he's only needed to paint a single tree to get this idea across. And so when I'm looking at this painting, like I would like you, because I think like when you're looking at this, because you are used to kind of painting quite abstractly, you're using a single brush for everything. And so this, it's basically like it's like a hard round.
Yeah. The color thing.
Color dynamics on it, yeah. And so what? Oh, did I? Hang on. I accidentally jinxed it by. Accidentally undid the paste. Hang on. Let me just grab it again. So we're going up to here. Okay, I can't copy it. Just give me a second. Okay. Just a second. The studio is taking on. Okay, here we go. Okay, just a second. I just need to figure out like why my computer is lacking so much. Okay. That should take care of it. Okay, so what's going on is that you don't have anything that helps us understand that this is city parts. Like once I go closer, the meaning collapses. And so what I'm looking for when I am looking at what's it called? Let's see. Like what I'm looking for when sorry. Oh, I didn't have it correct. Okay, so what I'm looking for when I'm looking at something like this is I'm looking for identifiable texture. And so what you're really going to have to research is what is the look of a roof versus basically what the house is, because you don't need to render everything out and really go accurately. But right now these are not placed in a way that helps me believe that these are houses. And so the areas where you need to focus on are basically the same way that horse we looked at earlier, right? We had a horse that was kind of like going away from the packs. You need to have something that is definitely recognizable as some kind of structure that we can go, okay, that is definitely that. Because look what happens when I place even something very, 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 simple down.
Yeah.
Like suddenly, a lot of these things, they start to get context. And so the idea of a dominant detail is not that you have a kind of like infinite, what's it called? We want to support the texture by having a detail that gives it meaning and gives it sense. And so you already have a lot of stuff going on because you have the horizon line, right? You have the horizon saying, okay, this is a landscape, we're looking down at it, and there's enough cues for us to immediately know this is it. Like no one would doubt this. And so, like, what's it called? Do you have Lazy Sumi? I think we talked about it.
Oh, the plugin, but
You have,
I know.
yeah.
I
But did you ever try the perspective modes? I think I don't know if I demoed it yet.
not
Okay,
I don't know. I
so
don't.
what I want, because like, if you ever have the plugin, then you should just either you haven't updated it, or but basically it's this little button, right? And what you want to do is you want to go in and get the preset toolbar. Yours will look different. I have mine modified quite a bit. But basically, it has this thing called the perspective ruler. And what I want you to do is you basically want to arrange you see like how it moves with Photoshop, you know? And so all of these textures that you have here, can I move it here? So you want to move the iris to the center of the image. This is just kind of like the view radius. Let's see, I'm gonna just increase it a bit to cover the whole image. There. Okay. And then what I'm gonna do is by pressing Control, I get these handles out. And all of these help me modify the perspective itself. And so I think there's a bit of view tilt. Okay, now it's at 0. So now I have the match to the horizon line. I can go and I can basically say, okay, I want it to rotate with the perspective. And you see basically that what ends up happening here is that it takes care of all the perspective lines for me.
Ah, cool.
And so what you can focus on is the actual perspective of the grid that you have in mind. And so, like, because I think like what's keeping you from detailing out the city is that this is very tedious to do manually. And so, if I go and basically do like a kind of rudimentary plan of this town, you want to do this a bit from above, or maybe you just like go and steal like a medieval city map, and then you kind of like fudge it a bit. But you want to basically have a kind of a chart from above that you that you basically try to draw the streets on. So you do something like, you know, we have a street like this. Like there's a lot of like kind of cool things you can do. And then maybe a plaza, and I just want these for the lines, and then you kind of like want to do something about the landscape, right? But if I just do this and immediately kind of bring it down into the perspective, and so you see like I can get this grid out, kind of go like this, maybe go, okay, that needs to be moved over there. So like I can use that as a reference to have an exact perspective match. And now of course there's some tweaks need to be made. You can see I move it up and down, but by knowing exactly where the perspective is, I don't have to guess basically. And so by having this map now, I just kind of go in and delete these lines. Of course you would spend more than 2 seconds doing this. You see like now I basically get a little chart of the roads.
Yeah.
But already now, by having this tiny bit of a difference, I have mapped something that I can now lean on. And so I kind of go here, and now I go, okay, every single street I can see, I want to light that up, boom. And then because I have the rotation here, oh wait. See?
Yeah.
And so, like right now, that goes a bit out of place because I've used the wrong colors for the city stuff you already have in mind. But now that I can select these, I can go, okay, they're lit up by the street lights. Or, wait, hang on, I get a little cheeky texture brush. Maybe. Something small. And then you kind of like put some roofs on these. And if you have a plan of the street levels, you can stay abstract, but you will have it in the right place. And so the spacing will take care of itself. Like it's very important when you're going from a kind of abstract texture to just go, okay, like it's okay to paint on top of it. But you're not looking to stamp out all the texture that you put in, but you're looking to refine it so that it is accurately placed where it doesn't break the illusion. Because you see, like now that I have a street going through here, I've got a big red color here. I have the street going through right here. Like all of these houses are breaking with it, right? All these implied structures. So if I just take, let me just make a, hang on. You have like a color dynamics thing going on. So see if I can just recreate something like that. Falcon background jitter. Okay. Yes. So if I have something like this, you see that by just saying, okay, follow the roofs, follow these roofs, and saying follow the perspective,
Yeah.
then immediately like that starts to align it. And so one thing that is the problem with this texture is that it introduces so much noise that you don't get anything where you can actually really take from it. So if I just turn this layer on and off, like immediately
Yeah. Yeah.
that gets together, and like I would just experiment with it, like make like a make even like a very small kind of like weird layout, and remember to have the streets curve and whatnot. But you're just looking to basically take and kind of know where the street level is, because obviously when you have this, you can move it up. You just duplicate it up, and then you transform it in perspective again to kind of like match, and then you have the so basically, wait. If you have the houses on a separate layer, and you have the street on a separate layer, then you get the depth of the houses immediately, and then you can just paint it in. Okay, so the next thing I would point out is that the cigarette. So I think like these details, they work really well, and you can already kind of see that you have something in mind here. You have that kind of like a square city, and I mean like depending on what era of town you are in, like the towns are kind of like sprawling, or they start getting designed. So like in Rome, like a lot they have this like a lot of these star shaped basically fortresses, because that's good to avoid cannon fire, and so you can just go and think about what are they structurally, like what would they want to prevent, or what's going to happen, like how people move from one place to another. But you don't need to go all in and then start like thinking about like 200 years of history to finish this painting. But even just going like, there's a road here, here, and here, and there's a little plaza that's like, obviously because it's the exit end of a road. So you make like, okay, there's something that can be here, maybe a little castle surrounding it, and then you have like a road going around, kind of like a big, maybe you make a circle here, something. And then you have already an implied road here going through. And so you just like align with that in perspective, and you make a few more marks there. Then that city will work out. I mean, just putting a few lines to really map out what's going on already makes it more believable. And then the cigarette, I think if you want to push for this like star idea, then the cigarette, or like I guess it's a pyramid you have going on.
No, it's exactly a ziggurat.
Okay, so I mean, it's like a very very simple thing to do to make it more believable is to align its perspective with the rest of the scene. So if I just take this and quickly grab these guys, right? So I'm gonna map it to a perspective line. I don't want to map it to the city. Like I think one of the favorite things about Lazy Zoom is it allows you to have so many different multiples of perspective lines. One thing I would say is like the most typical way of like getting your work to feel like student work is when you have like everything aligned to one perspective grid. And so I mean it has to align to the perspective, of course, but like when everything is aligned to like one horizon line, like 1 point perspective, then it starts to feel odd. So I'm just gonna make a few lines here to go, okay, that's where the line should go. And then just gonna correct what you have here. So see how much space here, like how much space you would have available to show something. And
Yeah. People, stuff. Yeah.
you can have like a kind of like little braces, you can have a lot of little stuff like going on here. And then because the perspective like leads us towards the city, then you can reinforce this direction of the city going, okay, look here, and then as we go through, then you really want to emphasize the stars. You can really have a lot more, like I love the colors you have back here, that you achieved back here. And so like really have them kind of like do something more with the stars, so you kind of go through if we follow down, and then add more support for us to go between here and here. Of course you have the river, but I think you have a definite area of interest that you could exploit here. It could be
Yeah. I was thinking maybe putting like little lights and stuff, so there's like another city and stuff.
yeah. I mean, to me, I'm thinking like. I mean, I love a good mountain in the far distance. um, like I'm like, oh, immediately I'm like, oh, mountain. But you don't have to listen to it. Like, oh, put a mountain there, and then we were like, oh, that's the focal point. Because look what happens now. We have a big shape that is pointing
Yeah.
towards this, and now we have a stopping point that says, okay, we don't go further.
Right.
And so by having something that stops us, then we have these two talking to each other now. And then you can say, okay, well, could you imply, maybe you do something like this. So it's this we find the distance, so like you don't have to make it very detailed at all. But maybe, it's a, oh, don't fix this side. Maybe it's like a little thing here that has a kind of a similar identity shape-wise than what you're developing here. And then suddenly like this like upheaval of a mountain starts also to communicate in different ways, right? Because like you can see like it just becomes one bright spot over here, but it almost feels like they have caught a star. And then you can do something like this. Maybe that's too bright, I think. So your mileage may vary, but have it align with the perspective.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, just take it. And then this one up here. And then as long as it's down, we can see the top. We can see the top. So we use the light of the sky to show the top of this, whatever the structure is. This is a dangerous tower to walk on. Okay. Okay. So let's see here. Okay. I think if you fix that, like, cause like now you see like, I mean I just add these orange glows in the image.
Yeah.
But you see how like that helps them align with the city.
Yeah.
Like that brings them in line of like we have this like night sky kind of going on, and then I think you could, if you looked at like illustrations of what's it called, if you look at illustrations of like zodiac signs, like the star maps and stuff, maybe you could use some of that iconography in this tower itself. Right now you just have these like squares, but like you could have, like, it's almost like if you walked all the way around, you would kind of like see a map of the stars kind of like put in.
Yeah.
And then you could basically have it go like this. And I mean, like, not as bright of course, but I think like that would add like a lot of interesting contextual texture to the piece. All right. Does that feel like it gives you clarity?
Yeah, it does. I'm still thinking about how to uh, support the ziggurat idea because it feels like it's a bit out of place.
Mm.
Maybe I'm thinking putting another one smaller in the like far away from the city,
Mm-hmm.
and
Like,
I
I
don't
mean,
know. Add to yeah,
it's what matters is that you are kind of having this very abrupt change. So you have this seaside town, and like another way to go about it is to do something like this. Wait, let me just take this. You lift the whole thing upwards, and then you give it visual support like this. So it's like we're looking at it coming down the mountain, and then
yeah,
you have like the ability to really go. So you take what you had here. Um,
yeah. Maybe I could make like the city rise a bit, so
yeah,
it looks like it's going uphill.
yeah, something like this. Wait, let me just flip this. So you have the city, and then you kind of have, because then you have then you have access to like like, because you can have, you can have it really. You can also alternatively you widen the framing just a tiny bit more,
Yeah,
and then you show the bottom of it, and then you can show the temple road. Wait, let me just okay. We just take it like this. We take it like this. You see, because then you have space for it,
yeah,
and that now you can also support it more because you can say, okay, like these people are having this like enchanted night because they maybe it's a constellation, maybe it's a natural event that's happening here, but you can basically have them go and you can connect the city with the cigarette. So you go like
cool.
here, boom, and then you have like space to make this like winded road that kind of collapses together with the city here. So like you take your star symbol and then you just like go all in and like kind of like use it as like a crowd because again like if you have again you don't have to paint every single person, but you can go like this and you just have like one guy, you know, like that will read
Yeah,
as a crowd of people,
yeah,
just like the Brett Allen did with the horse. So I think like with you open up the space below, and then you give this grid like a support by actually giving it a ground plane because seeing the bottom of things is what really finishes the idea. And if you can like keep that in mind, um, because I think like you also done other pieces before where you kind of like cut off axis of understanding by basically cutting off like the perspective itself, and because that's probably because I assume it's because it's difficult. It's always difficult. Like everyone always wants to like not paint the horse, right? It's like, um,
yeah,
so it's like, oh, how can we? It's like hidden behind the tree, but we can't draw people doing like this forever.
yeah,
So, okay, definitely, I think like that would push the. I mean, it doesn't have to be a big a big continuous line, but just like have the idea of the people going through. Um, and then because this is taller, you can do more with interaction of them with the city, but also you have to paint less city.
yeah.
So sometimes it's like, oh no, but that's a cool detail, but other times it's like, yeah, no, I don't have to do this. Okay, so I'm gonna take a screenshot of this
Cool.
and post. Um, and then we're gonna move on to the next one. Thank you, Lorenzo.
Thank you, man.
It's super cool. I really, when I saw this thumbnail, I was like, damn, cool, cool, cool. I'm looking forward to talking about this. Yeah, can we get uh, little some little celebrations for Lorenzo and his really great job and his work in progress? Cool. All right. So, just checking the live stream. Okay. So, are people watching? Hang on. All right. Cool.
Can I ask something? I
Yes,
don't know if
Mata.
this is. I don't want to be like to meddle with Lorenzo's idea whatsoever, but I was just thinking right now. I was curious about what if you try to maintain the sense of massiveness of the pyramid? Because for me right now, it does give it like a lot of structure adding that base, but what if you wanted to keep that sense of making it super big? Like that's a question that I was just like thinking right now. It just like popped up in my mind
Mm-hmm.
when you were painting the base. So
Yeah. So,
how would you solve that?
how would I do it without painting putting a base in?
Yeah, like because for me, when you added the base,
Yeah.
it seems like the like right now, not seeing the base and just like that
Mm-hmm.
reposoir, uh, it seems like the pyramid is huge. So how can you keep that sense of scale?
Yes. I mean, obviously, the pyramid feels a lot bigger when it's like this.
Yeah,
Um, like I think it's. I mean, it's again. It's a matter of. Uh, right now, it feels enormous in a way that's not
yeah,
believable,
yeah.
and
Okay.
so it's like you will always run into this issue where sometimes you just have to like go, okay, well, it just is big, and then you uh
Okay.
like you don't have to explain it necessarily. Like I think like a lot of uh
Yeah.
like epic art it does that.
Yeah.
I,
Maybe
I forgot the
the
name of the artist. Wait, Mats, we have to move on to the next guy.
for
Uh,
sure.
like it's I'll find the name for you, Lorenzo. But there's like this architect who he's like a architect from the Victorian era. He was like, I'm gonna make mega structures, and it's like the most scary, eerie things you've ever seen. Like they're just like huge buildings that are like impossible to build even like today. And he was just like, yeah, I'm gonna make a big circle in the middle of a big mountain. It's gonna be really cool. And he's like draws it all in super accurate perspective. Um, yeah, I have it in one of my books behind me. I'll go look at it after the show. So, I'll find out for you. All right. So yeah, amazing stuff, man. So really, really cool. Looking forward to seeing it develop. This piece. Is this part of the Evil project, by the way? Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So Roberto, are you available right now?
Yes. Can you
Oh,
hear me?
we can
Hello,
hear you.
hello.
We can hear you.
Okay.
Okay. So you said um, you want an intimate moment with her bird, and then you added a bunch of stuff. So
Yeah.
I mean, like, so it's basically you are a bit stuck in uh, way many ideas happening all at the same time, and you are kind of like. So this was the original sketch.
Yes.
Okay, and so was this always going to be a moon or some kind of like glowing object?
No, I just wanted like something to frame her.
Okay, yeah. Um, right. Oh, just gonna plug in my hard drive here. I hear a little beep sound. Well, I'm just gonna find this. So let's go here because I think like you're kind of like taking inspiration graphically from someone like Muka. And
Yes.
wait, hang on, is this the right folder? Let me just check it off screen. Yes, okay, good. Just gonna. I was unsure like this. Um, so one thing that you kind of do when you are doing like a graphic element, and like he was really good at it. That's why I show him up. Not to dunk on you, of course. Like no one compares to Muka. But what he does when he has a graphic element is that he makes it very certain that this is a graphic element as intended.
Mm.
And so what you're doing is you're basically saying this is a graphic thing to frame her, but then you make it part of the scene in a way that obstructs your intention, right? You said it's an intimate moment. She's kind of like being interrupted, almost like we are coming in and we are basically stopping her. Like
Okay.
to me, it looks like she's like she was talking with the bird, and then we come in and she's like looking at us.
Mhm.
And so I really like the idea you put forward with it's like kind of like we're growing the trees and we're kind of like coming in on this. And so one thing that's going on with this lightning is that it's very difficult to actually do backlighting like this successfully.
Okay.
You need some kind of light that helps us understand like what we're looking at. And
Mhm.
by having it backlit and not consistently backlit, we can't actually tell the form properly. So if we're looking at it from just like being lit up from the front top, right? But there's like this big light here in the middle where like the light will bloom through if this was like a big light source behind her, if it was the moon or
Mhm.
something. Um, but also if it was a nighttime shot, then wait, I have it. Then you would really have a lot more darkness available. Like, so this is an interior. Wait, I believe this is Schaefer. And you can see how when you have a light that's very bright, you can really juxtapose it with something that's very dark. And so generally, when we put our main character in the dark, that is that makes it hard for us to relate to them because it makes it so we can't see their face. And so
Okay.
when you have it like backlit like this, and what looks like that your intention is to actually make it very bright, then naturally you have to basically um, you have to raise the exposure to actually let us see into the shadows. And so
Mhm.
if I kind of give an example, I don't have any photography examples of like lower and overexposure just on hand, so I'll just kind of like think it through. Just give me a second. Uh, mm, okay, what I'm thinking of is um, when you have something that's like bright and you take a photo of it, you have this thing called clipping. So let me just look up clipping. Go here. So light clipping, and this would be like a kind of like a simple example of it. So this is a very highly exposed image, and you can see that what's happening is that as these details come close, they are lost, right? So all these red pieces, there's no information. It is clipped. And so when you in painting, when you are so basically here, right? Yeah, I mean they show it like they're like in photograph they're like this is a bad thing because you can't recover the detail. It has more of a problem in digital photography rather than film, because in film you can basically get everything out. Let me see here if I can find. Yeah, and basically it's an overexposed sun. But when you are painting something in the shadows, you need to clip the highlights to actually look into the shadows, because if you see the skies in this case with this girl, what would happen is that we would we were basically not able to see her face. She would just become dark. And so
Okay.
if you want to have her be backlit, you could actually go even brighter. And so like kind of like going like vignette on it. So this is another Schaefer painting, and you can see like the bright highlight here, it blows out, but he's lifted the shadows, and so we can look into it. They're still quite dark, but you see like what this brightness does to the scene itself. And then of course he has
Yes.
a highlight here for the saint that is getting blessed, that he can basically make us read, and he just gets all that information with a highlight on the hood, highlight on the and a highlight on the arm, and then it makes it so we can actually see it like if I zoom out again. So you have this very, very bright spot. And if you're gonna do a vignette, then I would go all the way. So let me grab it into Photoshop. Great, okay. See, now I can copy paste first try. Okay, so Let me just grab a selection here. Okay. So, because I want basically I want to support this like nature theme you have going on, with the image, and so like, and also you can go, okay, like you want to not necessarily draw as much detail, which is fine, and you have all this like, I don't know, the hair. I'm not gonna be too delicate with this. Okay, so just want to show you what happens if I actually blow this out. So okay, and so of course, like I saw your comment, like this is before you even ask any questions, right? But see how like right now, just by blowing out the highlight, her lightning situation becomes more believable.
Yeah.
And so that's like, if you have a highlight, then like there's no reason not to go all the way if you want like a graphic treatment of it. And so now with all this, everything that you insert back in the image, right? Because like this tree is obviously way too dark now because obviously it would be so bright. So you just kind of like, you can even have it be way almost like lost in kind of like a sun fog. Like, you know, like when it's really hazy.
Yes.
You want to, maybe you want to replicate something like that. Just grab the. Oh wait, hang on. I lost the. I lost my selection. So. Okay, that's what I have to do. Okay. So. I'm gonna go to almost pure white, and then have like an accent into yellows here. So now it will feel like sunlight. Just like a tiny bit.
It feels like a morning scene or something.
Yeah. So she's out there with her bird, and of course we would have a light come through here. And so we can catch that light. Kind of give it here. And then you would have some of her hair going through here. And now what you are going to do with this rendering that's happening in here is that you don't need to render, like you don't need to then go and say, okay, now I'm going to put this highlight in. I want you to just kind of think about it as, if it's very bright, then it will be a little bit of reflected light from all over. So the way you can lift up the color is, for instance, if I take this kind of like red color, dark color here, see, like you have made no value changes to the skin.
Mm-hmm.
If I change this to, say, a blue color, so I'm just going to desaturate it, but I'll give it a bit of a lift. If I go and I say, okay, her cheek is probably facing upwards. Okay, so I kind of give it a bit of a. Her cheek is facing upwards. So is her ear.
Like adding some light that comes from the sky.
Yeah, basically. So you just want to say, okay, everything that's facing upwards gets this.
Okay.
And then when these things meet, that's where you have this interesting combination where you can go, okay, now I really want to like push up. And of course, like there will be the sunlight would scatter through her nose, perhaps. And so you also have like the bird would be completely blown out as well. Look, I can give it kind of like a cool crown just with the highlight. Like that's like 2 moves. And then of course She's being interrupted still. Something going on here. So that definitely already pushes us a lot more attention towards what's going on here. But now you see like this is like a lot of things are still too dark. And so
Yes.
I think one thing that's going on is that like right now she doesn't have a body. Like there's no like right now this connects to nothing. Right, like her neck doesn't go anywhere. You have the hair in the way, but it doesn't go to a shoulder, it doesn't go to anything. And so it's hard to go and actually render anything on top of this. So I'm just going to give her a bit of space to have her body breathe in. Give her a shoulder here. And you have the hawk kind of going on here. But you have like a really good opportunity to say, like, how like you can kind of hide hands like this? Falconeers, they don't have hands. They just have a big glove like this. So what you can do is you can kind of have a sleeve coming up like this. Again, it's going to catch some light. But then you just kind of go and maybe she doesn't need a hand, right? But she could easily, be holding the bird close to convey and speak with it for it to give it a rest. And then you have this going on. So she's kind of like she's kind of folded her arms, and then she's holding the bird. She's holding the bird with this hand, right? It's kind of like she's doing like this. My ferocious falcon.
Okay.
And, she's looking way over here, right? She's looking at us like this. Oh, maybe like this. It's like she's not returning to address us. But yeah, I think like one thing that's gonna be get you a bit stuck is just that you said that you start this painting before you really start thinking about the intention exercises that we did.
Yeah.
Yes. Because it's always gonna have this lingering feeling of like I don't know what I am. And so you kind of have to assign it the story. So have you given it some thought about like what you want this painting to convey since you posted it for sharing?
The feelings, yes, but I'm still not sure like if I have to choose between just the nature theme or the bird theme, or if there's a way to combine them in some way.
Okay. Well, you need to choose an idea that conveys both, right? And so,
Okay.
like when we think about like one great idea, or like one peak that we're leading towards, it is basically that we don't want to confuse the idea for anything else. And so, if you have two purposes, you need something that combines both. So, what can you repeat what you said?
Yeah, I wanted the bird theme and the nature theme like to be together. Like she's some sort of creature that brings life to the forest.
Okay, and how and why is that impossible to combine?
I thought there were like too many themes. Like I added the butterflies, and that is like conflicting with the bird. I don't know.
Okay, well, I mean, if you think of it like this, because like right now I have this like morning glory kind of thing going on, right? What about wait? What about if I just take this well-drawn hand? Because you did a good hand, and I can see you kind of like have made a big effort to keep it. So I take this. I put the claw here. So now, like, she's some cool druid, so she can have the bird sit like this on her, and it doesn't scratch her, or maybe it does scratch her, and like you actually like really render out like she's like just doing it for style points. She's not wearing a glove, and you just like render out a whole bunch of like cuts on her hand. Like she's like, I love holding my murder chicken,
I do it for the cool factor.
Yeah. Like she's just like, she's with it there. I mean, I think like a few scratches it would actually be quite in character. So now she's kind of much more aligned with the bird, right? She's holding it close with one hand. She has one hand free, and then you kind of want to think about just the posture of her, like what is she doing, and I'm just gonna give her a bit more. So, because I have this blown out background for this piece now, what I'm thinking of is like this feels like almost like water. So why don't we just like lean into that? Like it could be, because we're not looking up, right? Our perspective from her is we are above her, right? We are like no matter what, because the way you drew the face and because how you drew the bird, our idea of like where the horizon is becomes this, and that's how like a person is a dominant detail. If you have someone in the picture, they will say this is where the perspective is because we're going to relate to that, and so I just want you to think about that point, and then let's go here, and kind of like think about what does her posture mean for the piece, and so let's go here, here, and what kind of decoration would you want to do? So she's bringing life to the forest. And could you just give me like a way that someone would bring life to a forest? It's your words.
I was thinking of magic of some sort. Like we would see like leaves or moss starting to grow on the ground and on the trees.
Okay. Does it have to be this kind of composition? Like, are you married? Are you married to this like super vertical composition?
I guess not.
Okay, no, I'm asking first because it might be you have like a specific purpose in mind, because
no. I did that, and then I was feeling like trapped on it because I thought it looked better, but I'm open to ideas.
Okay, yeah, that can happen where you go, oh, I'm when you don't have a clear intention, you can get stuck in kind of like this like, oh, what if I just make a change, and then you think, oh, this looks marginally better, but it doesn't really.
And then I have like endless roads where to go.
So I'm thinking, okay, like maybe, let's say, okay, hang on, let me go and look up something. Okay, so I'm just gonna look up for a reference here. So have you ever seen like a volcano eruption when all the trees are knocked down? So it looks like this.
Okay.
So like what kind of jumps out to me immediately is kind of like you could push for this kind of background. So like, I mean, so I'm just gonna let me just do like a cheeky copy paste and see how that I mean, that will not be the right choice, obviously. Let me just go. Let's see here. But you can kind of see, like, in a lot of ways, this is really abstract, right? Like you have a texture that is like very clear in this tree, and you could, I think, even at your level, you could render something like this out. You could figure this out, because like if this is just hatching, you see like there's a line there's a texture that says this is a tree that's up top, and then there's the shadows it cast. And so there's a ton of ways you can kind of really quickly make this kind of texture. If you had her in this kind of environment, you know, something like this, right? Even if it's just something like this, you could imagine that she's kind of like casting these powers, and then, you know, you can see like the grass growing, and it's kind of like following her path. So you can kind of see where her feet have been. And then, you know, you still have the falcon that she's like looking out and she's like talking with it. But this is a very different painting, right? Because you see like we're looking up. Like when you have a character like this, how you see them matters, because when we are seeing her from above, we are somehow we have the high ground, so to speak. And that means that we are looking at a kind of we're looking at the image in a way where we are coming down on her, right? Like that kind of we're seeing her from above, so in a way we are, as an audience, we are in control of the situation. and you wouldn't need to change very much in order for us to be looking up at her. In this case, um, you could change. Like obviously, we would need to see the bottom of her jaw. So that could be something that could be a bit tricky for you, drawing wise. But you could easily like move her up so that she's more clearly in line with the perspective, like something like this. By just giving more opportunities for us to look up at, in the area. But you have to decide.
Yeah.
But if you did something like this, then you could maintain the same image, and you could have like a very clear signal of like someone who is restoring the forest. The keyword I used to right, that's not what I was looking for. Oh, hang on. Yes. Eruption. So, like you can see, like this is what it's like. The sheer wind force just pushes all the trees over. It's super devastating.
Mm-hmm.
And so
it
like
almost looks man-made.
Yeah, I mean you should see logging operations. That's even worse. But like look, these are just like all the trees destroyed. So if you want to push for that, then I think like you could go like this. I mean, look at this. This is Mount Helena's eruption. Just like absolute chaos. Like this is no longer like. And then at the very top, there's some that were shielded by the top of this mountain. I'm gonna post this reference along with the paint over.
Okay.
And then I think like you can kind of figure it out yourself. Like one I would really suggest that you do take some time to work through is just like you find out where does his neck go. So remember like I'm just looking for my skull. Okay, somehow I have moved my skull out of place. I don't know what it is. But the vertebrae here of the neck, it sits in the center of the skull. So we kind of go down here, and then you want to place the shoulder somehow. Like you really have to make sure that we can see like where's the shoulder, because just even a line like this can really define where she is. Like if we can't see the body, right? If we can't see the body, then we don't just get a sense of like how people are, right? And even though like reading emotions from body language is kind of like hard to prove, people will still imagine stuff. So if is she happy about what's happened, or is she like tense, like relaxed, or like I have a mission? All of this is like presented like just this. And to know this, you need to be sure like where the clavicle sits, because that's where they move from, the shoulders. So like I would take some time to just like really look at the anatomy of the skeleton, especially around the neck area, and then to really figure out what that is, because that would really help this drawing a lot, and also all the other drawings.
Okay.
Because I mean, like,
can you also post the name of the artist you showed me? Like he had the right.
Oh, Schaefer. Yeah, I will for sure. Okay.
Yes.
I put a note here for you. Okay. Super. All right. Okay. Cool. So cool. All right. Thank you, Roberto, for sharing your wonderful artwork with us. Go here. Okay. So who else? Because it was just you two in the beginning. Okay, Leah, are you here?
I am.
Okay. So it's the vampire piece. We're coming back to it.
Yep.
Okay.
Still working on it.
Great. Hang on. Let me just see if I can refresh. It doesn't like go up and. It was because it was off. Okay, so you have chosen a landscape piece this time. Oh, a vertical piece.
Yeah, I mean, last time, the last version, I think it was actually your note to try making it vertical instead of horizontal, and bring like the castle and the blood moon
closer
in the middle between the focal point, which I think it works.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more tension.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what is your, because I didn't have time to read your comment before we started.
Yeah,
so
that's totally fine. So I think my struggle like right now is like getting into the realm of I think like the main composition is good. I like the piece. I like the storytelling. and now it's really like deciding what to detail out. And I always have, I like think a little bit like the tension between some things I just like visually,
Mm-hmm.
but the more I think about it, it doesn't make sense. For
Okay.
example, like the clothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's super long, sweeping clothing, which doesn't make sense for flying creatures because they would just like get tangled up in the trees.
Oh
And
no! Or
oh
like in their
no,
own
it's
wings.
like
Yeah.
so. This is kind of like a little bit difficult for me. Like now that I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, this doesn't make sense. I need to change it. But I love the flowing motion of the
Mm.
clothes leading the eye of the viewer. So if I get rid of it, I think something gets lost,
Yeah.
and I don't really know how to like make up for that. And I think it's also like I think the struggle here is like deciding what to detail out and where I need more detail and
Mhm.
and also more design.
Okay.
Because right now everything is kind of basic in a way. Like the
Yeah.
clothing is basic, there's not a lot of design work in it, and so on. So like yeah.
Okay. So I am okay. Let me see. Let's try to remember what I said last time. So I think like what you have what you have going on in this painting is like it's a fight, right? It's a
Yeah.
rivalry between these two things, and when you do that, your painting it needs to like basically when you have a fight that is kind of like going on, you need to increase the uncertainty because you want it to be unsure of like how is it gonna go, like because like we're not doing the aftermath, we're doing it kind of like right in the middle, and so obviously these two are clashing. I remember you had this you were looking at hawks fighting in the air like with their claws out, and like what I would really like to see is this person just being like really scared, um, but there's
I
also a fear
mm,
that if
mhm.
you make the face visible, then we are sympathetic with that person. Like it's like, oh, this is a
And the
person about
person's
them.
supposed to be already dead. It's more
Okay,
like each of the vampires like selected a prey and brings that back to the vampire castle.
okay,
But this one vampire doesn't have one, so he's
okay,
trying
okay,
to get the one. Yeah.
okay. So that's great because that's a good subtext. Like
Mhm.
it might not be something that doesn't appears in the painting, but just the fact that this is a desperate takeover. It's like I'm trying to get what you have.
Yeah.
Um, so uh, one thing that kind of jumps out, like what are their wings? Is it like is this like the design that you have kind of like in a silhouette? That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, because one thing that's kind of happening in my eyes is that you just have their wings kind of go off screen in a way where for me I there's no difference between this as a wing
Yeah.
or as a clothing. And so
Yeah.
what this does is it kind of like hinders our understanding of like what's going on because it gives this person something visually to stand on. And so because they have something visually to stand on, they are actually in a way safer. And is that because
Mhm.
else you would have to paint 2 feet dangling in the air? Like I totally get that. I totally get that. We have all we've all we've all drawn abductions and be like, damn, I need to draw a person hanging. How can I hide the hands and feet? And so
I
it's
think
like
it's
they are
I
bound
yeah,
like
I
this,
think
like
this time
mummies.
it's more like my love for like long clothing flying around, which is like always it's like your horses, you know? Like every time I get the chance to get in like floating
Yeah,
cloth, I do it.
hell yeah. No, I love that. I love that. Um, yeah, no, I totally I totally see what you mean. Um, so I think
But
the
yeah, makes sense. Mm.
like that visually there's just something here
Mhm.
where like
Mhm.
okay, so I
Mhm.
mean if I go into so I think one person to kind of look at for like like kind of like long details is someone like Andrew Wyatt. Let me just find like the piece I'm thinking of. Um, hang on, let me just okay, wait, just the right folder. Okay, so let me just go through my right folder together. But like when you have like long fabric, like you kind of like have to think about like can we see through it? And so Andrew Wyatt, when he has any kind of fabric in his paintings, he makes a lot of effort to make sure that we understand what it is that we're looking at. And so what he will often do is he will darken the background to make sure that the detail stands out. So like the highlight here on these nets stands out because he's lowered the exposure, right? And if it is dark, he just made it pitch black basically. And so let me see. I'm looking for a specific painting. Sorry, I'm just running through. Okay, here it is. It's hard to recognize this one from the thumbnail. But you see how like this very, very this flowing fabric, how its intention is actually to lead our eye around the room, around the composition. It leads us up here, and you see how he's changing the contrast between the fabric and the background to make sure that we don't get stuck on the fabric, right? Like it's an interesting detail, but we are still able to kind of see through it at all times. And so the space where it has the most, like highlights and whatnot, is in a space where it's not on top of this dark forest in the background. So it gets it here and it gets it right here. And what this helps us with is it helps us really see this as like a dark forest in the background. And so the intention with this netting is not just to have the contrast be high here for no reason. It's because by having it almost empty here, he could just highlight a few strands and we can see it very clearly. And so when you're thinking of like fabrics in your painting and you want like this like kind of like long drapery going on, like I don't think you need to solve for realism here, right? You need to think about what is it that actually does to the image itself. And so first of all, this image is very dark. Like it's incredibly dark in the sense that I think like if you do a print of this, you will have to kind of like go in and open it up like this to fix it.
It's
and
because when I paint on Procreate, it tends to be like I already like changed the light on my iPad to half, but it's crazy. Like when I put it on my laptop, it's always way darker than I see it on the iPad while drawing.
Okay, so that has something to do with the I guess like the gamma profile of the iPad itself. Like it shows up brighter than it is. That's an issue. That's a real issue. I don't know anything about that, so I don't know how to help you with that. But one thing that you can kind of always rely on is just like the relative contrast. So right now, the peak of contrast is this castle in the background, and you have these ladies, and they are kind of like they're having their fight, and I think that you can really cast a lot more light on them from this sky. So both from the sky, from above. So like take this color you already have, and it's facing upwards, more blue, and then it kind of like show the texture of the body a bit more. I mean, like, so that's kind of like awkward right now because it's the only place that is being lit up.
I get it.
But right now, I mean, like, because like what I really would like is actually to really see this claw. Like I want to see, I want to see this like almost impact.
Gripping.
And I think like one thing about tension is that when something is like touching, like the energy is already connected. And what I'm just gonna try this because I wonder if that will work, because this is something that kind of like I was told when I was like doing keyframe paintings. It's like if you're gonna do action, if you're gonna have an impact, either have like when you do like cartoons, it's like either you're gonna have the impact just before. So like if we have like a big fist like this, you want to have it like as close as possible without touching. Because this is way more tense visually. You see, like if I go like this very close here, like that's really like that's a lot more frightening to the audience. But when there's already contact, these two ideas become one. And so
Mm-hmm.
when you have this, like I'm thinking, like you really have this like almost brace for impact. And I think like already here, like that's brings a lot more tension here because you have this little gap. But also because you have this gap, you can take this light from the castle and diffuse it into it, right? You kind of go. I mean, I don't know exactly what the cloud claw design is here.
Floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think like so I'm just gonna show you like an image here. This is like from the this is from Tom and Jerry, and it's an excellent cartoon. And this is one of the style guides for posing. So this is for the keyframe artists to look at. And one thing that they point out, so in animation, you really need to have clarity when it comes to like basically. I mean, you only got
line of action.
Yeah, exactly. So like I think when we're talking about like supporting ideas, this does not give on the left here. It does not give us a sense of what is actually going on with this frame, because we can't tell intuitively what is going to happen next. And so if you think about it, like you're setting up for understanding of like what happens next. And so when you have here on the right, immediately it's like, okay, the punch and all the energy is being transferred because their feet are off the ground. They have lost control. And so the same thing. I mean, so here's one with like one with oh, am I gonna hit you or am I gonna really hit you, right? Like it's like this one is like a batting for baseball, and the other one is really like I'm gonna strike you on the head. Another one with the twisted body, another one with the like, and so like they do this wrong right, and there might not necessarily be anything wrong with this pose on its own. It's just that it's not clear. And so when you look at any of these animated sequences from Tom and Jerry, if you look at the show, a lot of the energy that was spent in all the meetings was basically saying, how can we make the energy clear? So every single pose is intended to have a very clear direction of energy. So in this case here, he's looking, and that helps us look at something, because obviously, like usually when these kind of frames happen, they have a freeze, so there's no animation, and then something is moving and reacting, so like the animators can get a little break. Okay. Okay. So it's just like when you're thinking about like doing these poses, because now I go back to yours, and so like what I want you to think about is what is the intuitive next thing that's going to happen. So to me, when I'm looking at this, I'm not seeing. Like I presented that to you because I want to really have those drawings in mind as I'm saying the next thing. I don't have an intuitive sense of what happens next here. So when we are thinking about the image, like so before each of them had a hand on it. Now I have taken this hand off, but I think there's still more to go. So what I'm thinking is I would like to connect this leg as well. So it's almost like they're surfing on the human, like visually. Right? They you want to push it so that the pose, right? Because if I just take this and remove this leg out, now this vampire on the bottom is in control of the human. Right? You kind of see like this like, and then you can have the kind of push a bit more forward. Kind of put their hands legs out, but they are in control because they are touching with all the contact. So now they have ownership visually, and so also there's kind of like an action going on here where like we kind of intuitively sense this feeling of like that if nothing stops it, they will keep raising the human upwards. Because we have an intuitive sense of like this pose. Right, it's like we're kind of grinding up, using it as a flying skateboard, right? We get a sense of we get a sense of this happening. And so that's kind of the action. So that's the action I'm focusing on. And so what I want this is like, okay, why is it bracing? When a falcon comes in, they are all out. So because this made sense when the pose was in isolation a lot more, right? But if I just take this and I go here, okay. So now it's like they're coming to curb stomp this human face. Okay, I had saved like a resting image where like it's I don't know what she's called, but it's some lady wrestler, and she has like this very iconic move where she just like she jumps up and she just stomps the other person with both her feet. But then because it's Japanese, she's like wearing a dress. It's just like it's like really like a weird, strange juxtaposition with like the ring and this going on. There's like this this person just being stomped out. But you see how like how much that changes the dynamic. I push this forward. Like I'm just thinking like how can I enhance this direction? And so that was I would say this is like the minimal intervention in terms of like what can be done. But I'm really thinking like because when I put this here, when I did the paint over like last time, and I was like try to put them closer together. I'm still thinking that you have a lot of opportunity here to lead the eye around with this background here. So you have this river that's like pushing attention towards the body, right? Like everything is leading up to this impact now. So let's assign the character with a little button here. So we say we want to lead the eye towards here, because that's like where all the actions like we have this kind of like things are moving forward, and things are kind of going out. Like there's kind of like a cool abstraction going on already. So I put this button here just to remind myself what like the flow. So you have these trees that are obviously like a kind of like a pine tree, and that's one idea, and they are all like kind of like helping create this very very cool flow. These trees are great for that idea. I don't think you need to remove those. So what I want is I just want like more support for this. So we kind of go, we have this going on, and that has supporting. So we don't need more here. It's kind of like we get a sense of this. But then I want to change this pose a bit. I think this is a great idea visually. This would work quite well. But I want to change something about this. I want to have it like more forward to help like push this like narrative of speed. Like in a sense, like when you think about speed visually, it has to do with like balance. So if I do something like this person is obviously standing up, right? Like no matter how I try to do it, like this person standing up. But if they are running, usually, like we can kind of do like a little iconic run. What happens is that we have moved the center of gravity. So in here, it's below, but here it's kind of like in front. So we kind of create this unstable energy. When you have someone that is flying, like this, we assume it's slow. Visually, but if you rock it forward, right, like that's why like when a bird is in the air, you get the sense of like it's falling, because it has no way to stop its gravity. When a bird stops and it's perched, it goes upright and it's supported by the branch.
Yeah, originally the idea was that this vampire is looking back to the other vampires, observing the scene, but that's why I made it like float. But I don't know if it's really necessary. Yeah, and it's better to show the flying motion.
I think okay, if you wanted to have it to support the action, then I would have it physically turn. Like like there's like stages of intent in images, and it's like Leah, you have my full attention. You see? And then something is going on. Oh, I wonder what was this. Oh, there's something going on over there. Oh, this hurts my neck physically. Ow, ow, ow. Oh, you know, that's what's going on in this image right now. And so, if you like if you have a character who is turning, that gives intent. These two characters are turned towards each other. They have full intent towards each other. They are going towards each other. When you have a character who is like facing away, we have no relationship with them. So if I just take very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So I move the body, right? We return it. And he's also skateboarding on his co-human. Visually, it's a. I think it's way more brutal this way. See, like this is way more a dead person.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I don't know if this is the intention you have, right? So it's not. So maybe that's a bit too on the comical side visually.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can keep what you had, right? I don't know. I'm
I have to admit, it lost a little bit of the elegancy from before.
Okay, so okay, let's see. Okay, okay, so that's not what we want. Okay, I'll just take a screenshot of this to remind you that this is a possibility.
But I get, like, I think I can see that there could be a pose that's really more in action, like really you see the turnaround and
Yeah.
the wings are more like, yeah, I can totally see that this would make it also more agitated, because right now it looks a bit like bored in a way, like
Yeah.
just not really invested, while someone being mid-flight realizing something is going on would turn around and
Yeah.
like with way more dynamic.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Because even if you have it like this, like look here, because
Mhm.
if you just take this whole shape here, right, and I kind of grab this, so okay. See how like that that accelerates it.
Mhm.
See,
Yeah.
I'll just make it a tiny bit smaller visually, like it's like a bit further away.
It's already better. Yeah, I can see
Like-
the line of motion.
But never forget what you could do. You have the option. I have. Okay, if I'm gonna do like an evil dude, like I'm gonna have the heroes come in, and the vampire is like, "Yo, heroes in my castle!" And then he like skateboards down on a corpse, down to. It's like, and the person is like still alive, like kept alive by magic. Like, oh. Okay, so
Yeah.
sorry, just like the mental image. Okay, so that's one thing, right? So you have this now. This is pushing more towards the center of the image as well, because he's actually by making them go forward. You see, like
Yeah.
it's an arrow as well. And by spreading the wings out more, I give more opportunity for this. So, I think you have a hard like one thing that's happening here is that these two feel like they belong together.
Yeah.
That's like the only thing.
I'm wondering to get rid of the cloth in the front
Yeah.
completely.
Let's do
Or
that.
the one you're just like,
So
clean it up. Maybe that's better.
so this cloth is very important for your line of action.
Yeah.
So I would really think about what is it that you want out of it. So I think, just like push it in a way where it really supports like what's going on here, right?
Movement. Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to catch this rail. It's pushing upwards into this image. And then what I would do for the background here is really take your time to do something like actually like raise the stakes in the landscape a bit more, because it's so dark that it's really hard to tell what's here. And so like you kind of have this like marshland going up. I would really just use that, like go in and really like apply a lot more detail. Not like you don't have to render it out, but I would like really think about the what's going on here, because look what I can do if I just kind of like put these things to the trees. Like there's also like this banner that's just like going randomly, but
maybe it's also too much.
It doesn't follow the flow of any vampire we can see, so that it implies that someone is flying this way out. And so I remove those, and already now like the focus increases, like so I keep bringing more attention towards this central figure and what they're pushing up against. And then I would really, really like implore you to really think about how these wings are, because if I just do something simple like this, then that pushes up, because like you are running away from this issue, and it's been like this way all the ways, but by by having it like this, again, matter of intent, like I'm like shit, go away, like it's my prey. Like push the shoulder way up. Like go like really go like, if I just do this, right, and then of course we move the body a bit, we kind of like do some stuff there, like, and then we have it catch some light, because right now like it's like this is almost like relaxed, like oh no, it's coming after me, like you want to really enhance, and so you only have one moment to speak in. So you really gotta take all the feelings you have in the painting and throw the kitchen table at it. Okay. So enhance the view, and I think like work through like what is the posing you want. Like one thing that's really important in your case is that they don't have to be aligned with the perspective grid themselves, but we are looking up at them. Right, like the horizon line is here, so like they have to obey some semblance of this. Like right now, she is really flat because she doesn't have a structure. So if I put, I'll just give you a little red line just to give a sense of it. But we're looking up at them so we can see more of her. Really want to enhance this feeling, and then give the jaw
more chin.
Yeah, like we're looking up at the chin, we're looking up at this, all this is going on. Kind of like what's going on here. And you really want to push this. Okay. But cool to see the progress on it.
But thanks, this was really helpful. A lot of good points to push the image.
Yeah, I think like genuinely like it's a fun idea. Like vampire rituals are always interesting. also, hang on, I just need to write skateboard vampire. That's such a it's such a compelling idea to me. like just reading it on my notebook tomorrow, like what the hell? Skate. Good. All right, thank you, Leah,
nice.
for sharing.
Great, thanks a lot. Can you share this?
Yes,
in the thread?
I will do it afterwards. So let's go here.
Thank you.
Okay, so
want to hit refresh.
Okay, cool. We have some more. No, we are almost out of time. Hang on, I didn't check the live broadcast. All right. Okay, people are in the chat. Hey. Okay. So we have two more. I think like a lot of the things have all been covered. So we have Marta and we have John. Um, and so wait, this is one of your own paintings? Ah, okay, you did the
Yeah,
feedback.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna do this and then we're gonna go back to Marta. Okay. All right. So you have trying to understand why something small can be more impactful than something closer in the best way to support them. Okay, so when you are saying, because these are sketches for another one of your series, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I've just been struggling trying to. I keep fighting back and forth where my interest in the animal seems to kind of override, but then it doesn't feel right because it just feels too close. Because at the same time, I feel like I'm trying to show off again that balance of marine life and landscape.
Mm. So, um, what I'm thinking when I see this is I am I'm kind of I think what's going on in this piece is that the fish is so static, and so it's kind of like the same feedback I gave you last time, where like the fish feels like a maquette, like like a toy.
Stiff, yeah,
Just
just
like
stiff, yeah.
I put it in the woods, and then that's it. And I think like do you have an aquarium nearby?
No, I mean it's more being able to watch things.
Okay, yeah, on video. Yeah, because I mean,
The, but that's where I have because there's shots of fish and there's lots of them when they're cruising. It's the economy of energy. They don't want to
mm,
expend too many calories. So really, a lot of the times they are very compelling visually to me because of the lighting. Whether they're like this is specifically inspired off of several shots that I've seen sharks cruising low to the ground
mm,
and casting a shadow, and it's
yeah,
very bright, and that cast shadow is what really I feel grabs me.
yeah,
But they're very maquette-ish. If I get what you're saying, stiff.
yeah. And so okay, so that's not an issue necessarily. I love the inspiration, by the way. Like that's a good takeaway. So it's hunting. Um, and I think like could you bring it closer to the ground? Like almost like we know it's floating, but because of the shadow and the no contact. But I feel like you like if you brought wait, let's get this. So let me just make this a bit bigger. Okay, so I think if you just took wait. Grab this. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab this shadow. Wait, hang on. It's gonna have to think this through. Okay. I'm just gonna roughly grab this. So duplicate the shark. Leg. So okay. So now I have this. Now I have it separate, so you can actually see it. So see how like this being low, it gives us the distance to the ground. And so, but if I bring it closer, you see how like that immediately makes it like not necessarily faster, but it changes like the way we look at it quite a bit. And it also
Well, the
means
funny thing is too, you also picked up on something that I didn't realize they have a hammerhead for a reason. Is they'll cruise low and dig things up. So him being too high is that's a good point if he's hunting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking like visually, because like look at what happens here. If I just give it a tiny peek here, this single opening in the sand, it really gives a lot of tension. Oh, sorry, I'm just making that crazy. Okay, hang on, stop swimming. Like this gives a lot of attention. This gives a lot of attention. Like the silhouette becomes a lot more interesting because it's intersecting this big shadow patch. Um, the other thing, um, the other thing I'm noticing is just like, because you were talking about support, and I think so. Here in the foreground, you have this bush, but the bush does not show the ground because we don't have a
Mm-hmm.
sense of how big it is. And so this bush gives us a sense of like, okay, that's a ground plane that's going on here. But you see how like they're not rendered quite the same just now? And so when you're looking at it, the visually, the what's going on here, it basically um, it just needs I mean it just needs to like be supported by the ground itself. Like even just like something small like this to give a sense like, oh, that's where the ground plane is in relationship to this. Like because right now it's kind of like it's doing the
Yeah, do
same.
you think on that corner that kind of I'm trying to be concerned about tangents, but maybe even push some of it
I
up
mean,
to
you're
kind of
doing the
give.
same thing here. You're doing the same thing as Lorenzo did. Just like have a big shape in the corner that doesn't have a relationship with
Yeah,
the
yeah,
rest.
yeah.
Um,
Okay.
like I mean, you could push it up. You could do a bunch of stuff like
Yeah, something a little more in the mid ground. Well, I mean, it's still foreground, but you get what I mean.
yeah.
Mid ground compared to the one that's there
I mean,
that would give the context that it's.
I moved the
Or
shack
you
up.
just.
I mean, right now the shack is touching all. It's just touching the sky. It's touching the ground. Right. It's kind of
Mhm.
helping us navigate through. Like what you want is you want to take the economy of the shapes that you already have with this shack, and you want to enhance them. So like you say, okay, there's a curve here. How can I support that with something that grabs it over here, like visually? So you kind of go, okay, what's the they look a bit crazy, but those like kind of cool diagrams that look like where they just like kind of like
Mhm.
draw
Mhm.
and draw and draw. Like if you just take and sit a bit and go like, okay, what are the curves that actually flow from the shark here, right? Like what is there that is like supported
The rhythm
visually?
lines for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like then so you go, okay, like so there's kind of like something going on here with the head, where if I follow this line, like that's being supported by the body. So you go, okay,
Mhm.
well, where do they intersect naturally? So obviously there's uh like a huge amount of tension here visually, which is fine. That's part of the shark, and there's also a lot of tension here visually. But you kind of go, okay, there's something that can be placed here, and something that can be placed here, and they will naturally intersect. So if you just take and maybe grab this bush here.
Yeah, because there is something by it being at the bottom that kind of bothers me. Do you think it would be better to make it more of an island, like you're showing in that?
I don't, I mean, I'm not sure. Like, it's not. I would have to sit and like think about this because like you also don't have that many parts to play with right now.
Hmm.
But if I just like take one item here, like so this is not obviously I'm painting it like a
Hmm.
rock, but it's a
Hmm.
grass. But you see, like by placing something here, like now there's it the natural shapes of the fish are like they get a relationship together. Um,
I see.
and so here we have something here, and then
Yeah, because that bottom bush was really just a vehicle to kind of show off. There's like you see the little black lines. It's just little tiny schooly fish that I was like,
okay,
I kind of want to have the.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
It's just little.
I
Yeah,
can't see
right.
them in this low resolution. Like I thought they were leaves.
Of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you're kind of like doing like an artificial western reef. That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
whole thing. It's just trying to and that's the struggle that I've been having is like I actually love it much better that he's closer and it honestly makes more sense to
Mm,
its personality and how it behaves versus the zoomed out. Is it just strictly this would be more intimate for him? Um, like where this one I was trying to do the same thing that you just actually did, showing kind of rhythm lines and finding
mm,
opportunities to add some extra elements in.
yeah,
But this was like they're solo, they're very lonely. That
yeah.
I mean that's kind of the shark's life. So I was like that would maybe be a little better here. And again,
Yeah.
each one is its
So,
own
mm,
painting eventually, but
so I think like one thing you, um, like these paintings are different because of how close the shark is to the camera, and so
hmm
when you think about like when you have here in the other one, is that because the shark fills the entire canvas, we are closer to it, and so we have
hmm
more of a relationship with it.
hmm
And whereas when it's far away, right, when it's far away, uh, we can see the landscape, and so it becomes part of the landscape, but it's really the landscape that is like the dominant factor, because it's like you
hmm
basically you're choosing a wider lens essentially, and so because we can see more of the environment has more an effect on it. So you can enhance the loneliness of like
hmm
what's going on here, like um wait hang on, so we go here, like I mean they have it a lot in Western films, right? I'm trying to find like cowboys traveling, but like they when you in something like this that it's a shootout, and obviously like they become essential, they dominate the frame, but when the cowboys are traveling, I don't know I don't know how to search for this, like it's like the cowboy is no longer like, so here we can see the face, right? We see he's not angry, but he has a reaction we can see, but here like the landscape itself uh makes it so that we don't need to see the face of the cowboy at all. We don't need to look at them. We just kind of go, so here that's a that's a horseman, right? And so again we are close, so it's his control over the environment that's in the feature. Like you can kind of think of like the lensing, right? Ah, found it. So like I'm looking for the other one. Ah, here. So in a photography, like when you're up close, you can see how the wait, can I zoom in here? Yes. Like so, this is an example of like this is what a person looks like at a 60 millimeter, and this is how close the person has to take a photo for that photo to appear like this. And then of course eventually like they go further and further away to have the same frame. When you take a photo of the environment, it's basically like let's go here. If you imagine like the city as a character, here it's the bushes, we see everything, and we can basically barely see the city at all. When we move over at 24 millimeters, like the city takes more of a prominence, but it's still like it's basically like meeting at the edge of this forest. And on 35 millimeter, now the city is like a dominant force, it's like pushing down on this forest. But when we go further in, as we go closer to the subject, it starts, basically erasing out anything else because that becomes the focus. And we go down like way beyond and go really high in the millimeter comparison. The perspective basically like warps out completely, and closed it by accident. Basically the perspective warps out completely, and what ends up going on is that we cannot see any of the nature at all. And so when you are looking at your paintings, you can go like, do you want the relationship with the fish? I mean, because you're painting a fish, do you want them to be the focus of like what's going on with them, like what is their take, or do you want the environment to take control? And so, I mean, if I place the person here, if I zoom in, like they will suddenly just disappear, like it would be just like one eyeball that's like visible. So, like in this case here, like if you look at this kind of frame, he's obviously posed so that he stands out the most, and then it becomes his control over the situation. Like everything in this photo leads back to this cowboy. Like there's no going around it. Whereas some of the other landscapes you showed, the cowboy is it's small, again here. So it I think like just like what you talked about already, it seems like you solved your own issue with this with what you said. Let's go here. I need to set this to a battery afterwards. Yeah. And so I think you can just take that as the feedback, it really comes down to what is it that you want the scene to be about. Do you want to have it like the closeness of the chase, and do you want to have this feeling of like a hunt, or do you want like the lonely feeling of a fish out of water?
Yeah, I think you nailed it there. I don't know if you've posted anything prior, or if you have any resources to offer that could help in the decision making in the future to find meanings for things like that. How you're showing like that, relating emotionally to a shot and how you set it up. Do you have anything, any suggestions? And you don't have to do it now.
No. I like it's just like because like I mean like I had I don't know, because like the information that's like immediately comes available to me. I'm like, wait, was that a conversation I had? Like because like I mean I did a lot of visual development, and it's like you get beaten with a stick if you like if you miss intention. Not it's like not literally, but like you get told off like, hey, like you missed this, like bring it in. And so I think like it comes down to making up your mind about what the painting is about before you even start drawing. Did you see the writing exercise that Lorenzo and Oscar did?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean like that. I think is first of all super cool that they did that. 100 ideas in 10 days, and you can see how that informs Lorenzo's decision making in the sketch that he made. Right? Like he had already premeditated. Wait, what can I? Here, right? Like before he started, he already knew he wanted the city and the stars to be equal. He wanted the mirror of the heavens and the earth. And so I'm like, okay, like you should just push in and have a lot more like zodiac, not you should use a lot more star signs in the city design. That's what I would push for in this case. But he already made the constraint about what the image is before he even started sketching. And so, like, even if it's just like one or two words, that already cuts off so much decision making of like things that you could try. So it's like make a constraint first, then do your sketch, and then evaluate it based on the constraint. Or so does the sketch make you want to change the idea to fit, and then move forward, or do you want to make another shot to get the idea across that you haven't intended in the first place?
Yeah, I'll definitely take that suggestion. And it was also more like Edgar Payne. I'll use that again. That compendium of compositional stems, but in relationship, like, are you familiar with the Steelyard? His compositional stem, the Steelyard, where it's like a large shape against a small shape.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm curious if there's something similar to something like that that could help with the intent of a shot, where emotionally there's one thing, but pairing it with a structure like that.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm.
Yeah. No. Okay. So.
Because the way you took the millimeter shots and then explained how the balance between the city and the forest is interesting, and I was wondering if there was anything kind of similar to as a sort of cheat sheet to again rule out spending too much time and
I think you just need to have more experience. like you're gonna mess up a bit. Like what I would suggest for you to do: use the group, make your sketches, and then use it as a method of reflection of like what the direction of the painting is. Because like what you did by coming up to the call just now of saying, hey, I have this like idea, it's kind of like vague a bit. You sharing it already helps you clarify it. Like, I mean, like when we're doing the painting analysis as a group, we are essentially trying to borrow decision making from the masters. And so when like I've been doing this for years, like this is like the thing. And so like I have like, I mean, I'm not gonna pull up my notes, right, but like I have written notes for a lot of paintings, and it's basically like a full breakdown of like what it is that makes them work. And my idea when I'm doing, the reason why I asked the questions, and if anyone is watching, let's go. Search here. So when we're talking about the questions here, it's like, for anyone watching on the live stream, it's, like, the reason why I'm saying, when you look at a painting, ask what you're seeing. Like, how do you know that that's what you're seeing? What supports that? Why are you looking at the point of interest? Like, what is it that makes you look somewhere? That helps you investigate it. And then asking, when does it take place? All those things are things that if you answer them and like have an idea of like what they are before you start your painting, you can apply the lessons that you have already learned from your favorite paintings. And so when we are going through and, like, we're looking at these things, and like, so, I mean, what's it called? Alex, he did this paint over here, where he goes, what if I change one detail? And so when he does this, like he removes one character and he moves the contrast up, like, immediately something definite breaks in this image, because we can only look at the king. Like, there's no reason to investigate any other character, because that's what we want to look. That's the highest point of contrast. It becomes a distorting contrast. Even if it's drawn correctly, it distorts the image around it. And so when we look at it like this, it's okay, what's actually happening? It's being balanced by all these red colors. We have the red of the flags, we have the red of the people, but they are in proper places, right? You have the brightest red is this guy's pants, which helps us notice the crown, which is the highlight. But who is behind the crown? It is the king, who is being supported by these red cardinals, or red priests, or whatever they are. And so all this red color is basically what helps us look around the image. It organizes it for us. And so me understanding that color helps me relate to this picture, because it reduces the amount of things I need to take in order to understand it. That's an important lesson. And so if I'm making a crowd scene in the future, I can now go, okay, I need a dominant color. In this case, this is how he did it in this painting, right? I need a dominant color that then actually goes out and helps me move around the image. And so I need every other color to be less than that, because that helps me organize the flow. Like, we have all these one. Conrad did this wonderful paint over where, he started removing details, and it's like, by just going through and saying, okay, what if I remove one thing? He did this one where he removed the coffin. It's like, there's no story anymore, and so the story changes to be almost like just like an odd painting of a couple, rather than like something that's actually going on, and and then he removes the wife as well. Like, it's like it changes the dynamic so much, and it's both humorous, but also it helps you understand why that choice was made. And so my idea, by basically framing it like this always, and coming back and saying, okay, like, what's going on? What are we doing with these paintings? It's that when we come in and we actually remove a detail, what ends up happening is that we understand in a new way that is like different from what we would have available to us if we're just looking at it like raw. And so you basically take, we remove these foxes, and like the painting kind of like loses a lot of intent, because the foxes are a detail that helps understand where the ground plane is. Like, they go, okay, we're standing here, this is Earth. And so when you come back to your own paintings, right? Like, those very same questions, they apply to your own work. And so the idea is to really gradually build up your experience from learning by breaking like these like master paintings, and so that you get a sense of like why something works. Because what happens is that you're gonna make an error. You're gonna make an error of what's it called? I don't know, I need to find the word here. You're gonna make an error that's like what you introduced yourself. Like you make a mistake, or like you introduce something like, hey, this looks wrong, but it's like, hey, I have made this. I know how to get out of this because I have an example in my head of like how I did this on purpose to a painting. And so you reverse the decision and find a way out from that point of view. So it's like, it's good that you already have this work in your head, of like what you're thinking of when you are looking at this painting. I think what matters is that you now understand it, right? Because I mean, I remember like when you joined, even like like less than a month ago, it's like you told me that you hadn't thought about this at all. So like, it's already a big progress that you are even like thinking about this.
Oh my god, it's wild how much you've affected my. I'm enjoying things again, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you. I know you got to get on to Marta, so
All right.
absolutely, thank you. Yeah, it's definitely get some practice in. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
All right, hang on. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna check the because like I think like the event is off on the. Just need to make the time frame bigger. Yeah. Now it should appear as a live thing again. Okay. I'm just gonna see because Admika wrote like, "Hey, we lost the call." Okay. All right. All right. So we're looking at this. Okay. Back to the show. So let's see. Was there anyone else for the end of it? We had Marta, right? And so you said you had been working on this painting, but you wanted to basically introduce a new detail to it.
Yeah, I mean, this was before I was actually thinking in. I started from a photo reference, so the idea of introducing a character actually came later. And I think my main issue is just like how can I move this image forward without totally giving up the composition and the framing.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I wasn't moving forward actually because I hadn't decided yet what was the main focus.
Okay.
So it was kind of unclear what to render more out, just like but things get blurred out because they're not important. But I do know that I wanted to portray like a scene that I see in my neighborhood, which is this old ladies in the sun. They take out their plastic chairs and they put like a little plastic table to enjoy their coffee time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like I've never actually tried to do this, so I was feeling a bit. I was actually gonna tackle it this week,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's just like thinking more out in group. How can I actually pull this off?
Yeah. Okay. So what comes to my mind is, let's see. So the issue is that you have started the painting without having this intent in your mind from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Like that's what's gonna keep you.
Which is an issue.
Like no, but I mean but the thing is like it helped you discover that you want to make this painting.
Yeah.
So,
sure.
like to me, when I look at this, this is like a very simple setup, and I don't think you would lose much time if you decided to actually go over from scratch. Like
Okay.
in terms of like so I wouldn't worry about starting over, but using like the information and the details you have learned from looking at this reference, I would think about that first of all. Like what I would convey for you is let's see. Like to me right now, like I can see like that an old lady sitting here on something here, but I feel like because we were talking about visual support a lot, and I feel like the environment right now it doesn't invite her to sit there. Like like here like it's the curb of this road. There's a stop sign that's very prominent. I'm like, if she was sitting here, why wouldn't she like have a look at the ocean? And so like I'm picturing, what's that picture? It's like it's like any kind of like person smoking after like a hard day at work. It's like and just like resting out in the parking lot. That's more like what I feel like would be appropriate almost to have leaning against that wall. Um, so I like the color you added, the like a bit of like a gray and colorful colors into the shadows, like that works quite well. It also gives like the town some old age. Um, but if you come back to what I told John, like what is the focus of the image, and so do you want it to be that she's part of this scene, or do you want it to be like that she is like actually like quite close to us in perspective?
I think to provide a bit of more of context, it's just like it's in my neighborhood,
Yeah.
so the scene is also the main character
Okay.
because the houses are self-constructed. It's a really specific type of building.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
in my neighborhood, so it's like I don't know if you've seen Angela's song work. Just like the whole composition, the whole buildings are actually characters also. And I was watching this live the demo she was doing the other day for Planner April,
Yeah.
and she was actually talking about using um, buildings for framing um, your composition also, which I don't know if this is something that you could apply here, but I found it really interesting because it's just like, yeah, I think I'd like to push more the idea of the environment also being so full of color and
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, like just like a whole a whole other
Yeah.
character actually.
I like what you say a lot, and I'm an environment specialist, so like to me like it's like the house is the person itself, right? Um, like God, like I'm just
And
wait.
it's also like I really wanna make these images, because
Yeah.
it's not like I see a lot of beauty in
Mm. Okay.
the place where I'm from, and we often get like this touristificated way of looking at things that I really want to show how I see the place where I live in.
Yeah. Marta, I just want to tell you that you speak of your town with such tenderness. It really makes me like it, like I don't know, like it's like I could eat your words. Um, so
Thank you.
it's really really like I think like if you could just keep what you just said in mind, like and at the back of your tongue as you work on this painting, I would really think that you would get like, gain a lot from it. Um, so I widened the camera a bit just to give a bit more space
Yeah.
around this area. That's like all I did change wise. I think so. If we go back visual support, like I really like there's actually something interesting going on here, with the kind of these
Yeah.
like just like kind of like go look in here. Like it's interesting with the more texture. You could add more texture to it. These arrows are pointing. Is it gonna be like without clouds at all?
Uh, I hadn't thought about it. Because I was it's like something that I've been discovering as I have been working on it, because
Mm.
I was just like so focused on being so true to the photo reference at the beginning, because I think it's just a matter of me gaining momentum regarding the course and all
Mm.
these ideas that we've been working from,
Yeah.
and I've been just like I hadn't painted it such a long time that I, I think I'm now crossing this threshold of actually, okay, but what do you want? What do I wanna tell? What do I wanna convey?
Mm.
Because I have proven myself that, okay, Marta, you remember how to paint
Mm.
and you do pretty okay, and
Mm.
that's not the issue. What are your ideas?
Yeah.
So I'm not scared anymore about rendering and trying stuff out. For me right now, the challenge is actually this one, like,
Mm.
what do you want to say and how do you convey it
Yeah.
as good as possible.
Yeah. So I think what you can do is like you keep these buildings very simple, and then you
Mm-hmm.
use the texture to guide the eye. Like so you wanna
Okay.
you want you wanna Of course, like it needs to follow perspective.
Yeah.
It needs to follow the perspective
Also,
quite clearly.
that's something I really need to work on because I feel like I don't have that intuition really well grounded yet. You know, I feel like that's also
But
why I was
were you painting
relying
on your
so much on
computer?
your photo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Were you painting on a PC computer, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'll tell the same thing for that I told um
Like
Lorenzo.
the
Yeah. Like
uh-huh.
you can use a tool to get
That's a thick tool, man.
I mean like I don't think you need like I'm not I mean it doesn't have to be this way, right? Like but
Yeah.
look what I can do in like a few seconds if I just like figure out the perspective. Like not always you want to have
Uh-huh.
this, but like
Yeah.
I have set it up so I can actually like you see like I can move the line a bit. Like it's
Yeah.
not strict on the perspective itself. Like I can I don't have it like be like precise always. So I can kind of like have a wobbly line. But just
Uh-huh.
doing something like this and saying okay like now all the mine are in the same like lineup, that gives a certain power that might not
Mm.
necessarily be like let's go here. I mean like obviously like now I put added a lot of distortion to it. It's this view lens is not the right one for this
Mm-hmm.
image.
Mm-hmm.
It should be different. But like basically just like cleaning up the lines and say okay like now they're all aligned into one direction when they should be like that's something that gives like clarity in terms of like the shape, but it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Like you can have really wobbly lines, like they can be way more, but as long as they are aligned, like they can do like really weird stuff and not feel out of place as long as they're all doing it. So it's more like
Yeah.
you see like how that doesn't feel out of place because now I'm like distorting them all equally. So like now it feels like now the house almost feels alive because it's like
Yeah.
like
That's it.
you see, but it just
Mm.
follows the perspective that's already there. So when
Yeah.
you have something like this going on, that changes the dynamic quite a bit. It's just because like you have this kind of like almost there, but it's like if you want to like push it, I think you should push it even more like out into something that's not necessarily not real, but just something that's like a bit more strange. And so for the character here, it's just a matter of like drawing it out and putting it in, right? You said it was like a cardboard, not a plastic chair. So do something like this.
It's just like because and you mentioned it earlier, right? Like it's such a tiny space over there that I'm concerned about not like making the figure too stiff and not being able to yeah just to like to it's just so small that you need to make the right choices and the right brush strokes to actually make it look like super believable. And I think I don't trust my skills yet, but
That's
it's
okay.
just like I just have to try it out.
Like, look, if I do something like this, does that feel believable to you?
Yeah.
Okay, that was not. I mean, like, okay, I have more experience than you, right? But it's like I think you can do something like this, right? Just like follow your instinct a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But more than
Mm-hmm.
anything, like you got so far by using a reference that you took yourself. You can just go and find one of those aunties
Yeah.
and say, "Hey, I'm making a painting because I love this area. I love what you are and what you represent. Could I take some photos of you, and just use them for my painting because I'm really inspired by you and what you represent for my neighborhood."
Yeah.
And you know what? I think they
If
will
I
say
do that,
yes.
I'll
Yeah.
yeah.
It,
They will say yes, and they will actually invite me over for coffee.
and you'll have a little coffee with them and on the plastic chair,
This is
Ah,
this is a fact. Yeah.
there we have it, and she's just like and she's in her cool, like they always like old ladies, they always have these like these cooler cell dresses. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking something like this.
Flower
Yeah,
patterned.
and then a cool little cup.
Oh my god, that's so nice. Yeah.
you know, like it could be something like this, and, like to me, like I'm sold on this idea. Like I mean, you just said it so tenderly, like because like now she's really like you have the sense like she's looking at the sky.
Yeah.
You see, So like I mean, I'll post the Tom and Jerry examples I showed earlier as
Cool.
well.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah.
I really like what you said when you opened up the image on the left side. I really like what you said about the blue and the texture guiding the reading. And I was thinking blue is like a dominant color all around the picture, so maybe just like making this flow of blue from the
Mm-hmm.
left to the
Yeah.
all the way to the car and
Yeah.
up again to the sky. Maybe I could use like clouds to actually.
Put,
Yeah,
you,
I keep remembering this great analysis you made about Howard's pile,
mm, like you.
assault on the galleon.
Yeah. I mean, you want the color to have a meaning, and so that's why you need to
Yeah,
like it's like you either put it in one place or you put it everywhere. So right now, I mean, I chose the colors of the car, um, like for her dress, right? But
yeah, yeah,
but
sure.
that brings their ideas together.
Hmm.
And so like I mean, you can, and then because her chair is blue, and then she has a red dress on, and that kind of supports this whole image. Um,
Cool.
like I mean, you can also for movement. I mean, I don't know, are there seagulls around where you were with the town you at?
Yeah, tons of them actually. Cool.
Something like that. Creates a lot of
Nice.
movement, and then because that also synergizes with this door.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
See, like all these go back here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's they support the white of this plastic, and they kind of like help our eye. So we flow around
Mm-hmm.
back here, and then ending at her white cup. And then
Yeah.
if you want to like be really cute about it, you can maybe like do like a pattern that's like that has some kind of like very bright.
She looks so happy.
You see, now she's surrounded by the sound of the sea and the sound of like these
Yeah.
voices, and we get a sense of like she's taking a little break. Right? Does that feel okay?
That feels amazing, Jonathan.
Good. All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you submitted it anyway, so we can have this talk.
Yeah, because I was just like, okay, next week I'll tackle it. Okay, okay, okay. And there's just like so many stuff I've been tackling because I was noticing that I was avoiding. I'm back with oils, as I mentioned to you earlier, and it's just like, yeah, I'm enjoying things again. It's just like as John said earlier, and it's so amazing how you build up this momentum and ideas keep coming, and it's just like so nice to be back again like this.
Yeah, I just love how like because I mean obviously I'm streaming this from to get people to potentially think about the class, and then like back to back two students are like painting feels great again. um
It's amazing.
yeah
I'm not struggling anymore. I mean, like I'm struggling, but in a nice way, like in a sense of it's a love letter to life.
yeah,
Actually,
just
it's
love
like
that to life. That's me.
I love struggling
But
in this sense.
that's really the beauty of taking this turn around. So I'm gonna stop this stream now.
Cool.
If anyone is watching here, you can and you're interested in joining this class, if you want to like stop struggling with your painting and really start to enjoy it, I'll put a link in the chat here. And if you are interested in joining this class, and then hopefully someone will see that and say that's really great, I want to join that. So that's gonna stop the stream. If anyone, would you like to say what you feel about the class as well? Only good stuff.
It's good. It's good.
it's good. Okay. Only good stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
I definitely would. I think it's incredible that somebody can take such an infinite and confusing subject and bring simplicity to it, to where all these tools that you know you've been working on get put together in such a neat and tidy way, where you're essentially handing us the key to the kingdom and understanding when you come to a canvas, you there's something that brought you there, and then to be able to pair it with all those things, whether it's composition, you're just so fluent at that, and pairing it with the emotional side too.
Mm.
I'm definitely grateful. So get your butt in here. It's a great class.
Thank you so much, John. Yeah, and John is like super super good. He's really sharing also a lot. Like, I honestly, John, I'm so looking forward to seeing what you're gonna do in the next couple of months. It's gonna be so fun to see. So that's the stream. So if you're watching in this, either the recording, you're watching live, thank you so much for joining. It seemed like there was 15, 17 people watching. That's cool. And